That's what the message said.
Really? That's so nice.
Those snacks have Paimon's name written all over them.
I think you might be more of a snack hunter than a marashose hunter, Paimon.
Snack hunter Paimon reported for duty. If there are delicious snacks to be found, Paimon will track down every last one.
The desserts are great. But I'm still looking forward to the story more than anything.
Very fair. First, please pick up the blank character cards in front of you and write down your name and profession. You can find an abbreviated version of the rules printed on the back of your character card. In this story, everyone is a marashose hunter. To reflect this, the club has prepared a small badge for everyone.
Ooh, nice!
As hunters, you have proficiency in swordsmanship and fighting by default, so there's no need to allocate any additional skill points to those areas.
Swordsmanship? So there's a fighting part to all this?
Why don't you share a character card then? The Traveler will be the marashose hunter, and you can...
Huh. Kinda like in real life.
So, for the name, do I fill it out with the name of my character?
Yep. It can be any name you like.
You can use your real name too if you want. I do that whenever I get too lazy to think of a new name.
Oh, so it would be like experiencing a different life, but still as yourself.
In that case, I think I'll continue to use the name Linny then.
Next up is the skill sheet. You have a limited amount of skill points that you can use to learn a number of skills. The more points you invest in a particular skill...
I'll take...
Oh, those skills sound like they'd be useful for gathering intelligence.
So, should we also take those skills then?
Not necessarily. Since we're working together as a team, we could lead. For example, I think I'll take stealth and sleight of hand. That will give us more options if we run into any situations we...
Oh, interesting. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I suppose it's not so different from an acting troupe. Everyone has their own role to play. Let me see. I'll take arts and performance. I'm not quite sure what use they'll be, but I'm not as knowledgeable about the other skills, and I'm not too confident I'd be able to roleplay them well.
Well, that leaves us. What do you want to learn, Traveler? Ooh, so you want to help people when they're injured. That's nice of you. Oh, something that'll help you get a read on other people's thoughts. So what do you think? Are you sure you want to learn these two skills?
Let's see. Oh, looks like you each have enough points to choose one final skill.
You've all picked such classic skills.
Why do I get the feeling she's getting ready to cause trouble?
For example, this one here. Summon. Doesn't it sound super mysterious and cool?
Oh, I saw that one just now as well. The description says, this skill can be used under certain circumstances to summon characters or creatures that fit the script's world-building rules.
The script's world-building rules, huh? But how are we supposed to know what a marashose hunter can summon?
Oh, that's not for us to worry about, my friend. Just learn the skills that interest you, and the GM will take care of the rest.
All right, you've convinced Paimon. Let's learn summon then. Paimon can't wait to see what kind of thing shows up.
Well, now that everyone's more or less finished creating their characters, we can begin. Since two of our players are doing this for the first time, though, let me ask, Would you like to play on easy mode or authentic mode?
What?
Well, in role-playing games, the story sometimes changes based on the decisions of the players and the results of the fatometer. For example, if you fail a check, that means you cannot use the target skill in that scenario. If you choose to play in authentic mode, every time you elect to use a skill, you'll need to use the fatometer to see whether you succeed or fail. If you choose easy mode instead,
Given that I'd like to focus on the story,
Huh? Oh, come on. Don't worry about that. Never knowing what you might have to overcome.
I'd rather be mentally prepared for what.
all right, then I'll mark down Furina for easy mode.
What about you, dear partner? How would you like to play?
Are you sure?
No need to worry about the pesky fatometer. Pretty good choice if you just want to relax and play the game.
Honestly, I don't think Clorinde would make things too difficult for us, no matter what the fatometer says.
No promises.
That wasn't super reassuring.
Well, anyway, enough talk. Let's get started.
Speaking of the story, why is the beginning scene on a beach?
Well, that's because a long time ago, back when human civilization was still in its infancy, powerful demons and evil sorcerers ruled over the land. They created a host of monsters and sent them to slaughter all humans in existence. Soon, a group of human rebels banded together. With their swords raised, they swore to brave the darkness, and in doing so, subdue each and every monster that sought their destruction. Sometime later, as a member of the Marechaussee Hunters, you receive a commission. Following the address provided on the message, you take a boat, and as you inhale, you can taste the slightly salty air of the docks as you begin to survey your surroundings. Your eyes meet, and you realize these people are fellow Marechaussee Hunters, likely led to this location after receiving the same commission as you.
You're all Marechaussee hunters too, right? Allow me to introduce myself. The name's Navia, monster hunter by trade and helpful neighborhood businesswoman on the side. What say you to traveling together? We can help each other out on the road.
Okay, count me in. My name is Linny. I've been wandering since I was little and picked up a few less than legal tricks along the way. I was adopted by a Marechaussee hunter and later chose to follow in his footsteps.
Is this where you introduce your character to My name is Furina, and, I grew up in a noble family. I always had a strong interest in performance and the arts. Even though I'm a Marechaussee hunter, what I really want is to be a performing artiste.
Hey, that's really cool. You can do it, Furina. That's
Pаймon is Pаймon, a good friend and companion to this Marechaussee hunter right here.
I've been studying medicine ever since I was a child. I want to do my part to eradicate these monsters and use what I've learned to heal others.
Oh, welcome. When we face the monsters, I'll make sure to charge in front to give everyone some cover.
You open your envelopes at the same time. The message reads, "To the honorable and trustworthy Marechaussee Hunters, our kingdom is currently facing a grave crisis. The lands outside the capital have been overtaken by monsters, and our people are being led astray by forces of wickedness."
Huh. The layout of this city looks super familiar. It kinda reminds Paimon of Mondstadt!
The scriptwriter must have used a real-world city as a reference when coming up with the map.
As experienced hunters, the layout of the city reminds you of places once traveled. You recall the sight of tree-lined streets, yet, as you regard the city in front of you, it appears to be little more than an empty shell.
I carefully read every line of the letter and turn my attention to the signatures at the bottom. Who issued this commission to us?
You see a long string of unfamiliar names. It would seem that many of the residents of the city issued...
In that case, why don't we take a walk around the city and...
Oh, good idea. We might be able to get some leads on the monsters and bad guys we're after.
You look up and see a tavern nearby. It appears to be open for the day.
Why don't we go check out that tavern? If the novels I've read are anything to go by, taverns are usually full of information.
As you approach the tavern, you find a plainly dressed woman standing nearby. She appears to be rather troubled about something.
Greetings, friend. Lovely weather we're having today, don't you think?
Oh, hello. I suppose you're right. The weather today is quite lovely. If only those monsters out there would stop causing trouble.
It seems like every character included in the script has a certain amount of useful information to offer.
Oh, come now, don't be sad. Life is all about optimism. Oh, that reminds me. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
Huh?
I don't think that's the kind of question.
Nothing turns a frown upside down like good food. How about some macarons?
You didn't even take cooking as one of your skill proficiencies.
That's not necessary, miss. Excuse me for saying this, but you don't really look like a chef.
So you're someone who barely smiles and doesn't like sweets. Hey, did she just... me?
Clorian must have broke character for a second.
This isn't getting us anywhere. Traveler, maybe you can think of something.
The results of insight checks aren't disclosed to the players, so I'll be the one consulting the fatometer. You recall all the lessons you've learned in your time and begin to carefully observe the woman's You notice that when she's quiet, she has an empty look in her eyes, as if her thoughts have drifted to a place far, far away. And when she speaks, she often subconsciously reaches out to touch the ring on her left hand. So you noticed. That's a little embarrassing. A horde of monsters suddenly appeared near the capital recently, so all the guards were dispatched to fight them.
Do you remember when those monsters appeared?
I'm not completely sure. All I know is that my husband was dispatched to fight them 3 days ago.
Do you know where he was sent?
It all happened so fast. When we said our goodbyes, he couldn't even tell me where they were sending him.
You have our thanks, friend. We'll find and defeat those monsters as soon as possible. We sincerely hope your husband will be able to return to your side soon.
Oh, thank you.
Don't worry. We'll find him. Just try to remain optimistic and wait for good news. We don't always get to choose what happens to us. But we do get to choose the little things, like what we eat and how we respond to the things life throws our way. I hope that one day, you too will recognize the power of something as small and inconsequential as a delicious dessert.
I'll do my best. You bid farewell to the woman, and continue your journey further into the city. As you venture further into the city, the streets appear largely empty. An elderly woman walks past. You see her shake her head as she puts away her wrinkled wallet. A nearby merchant folds his arms and gives you a disdainful look. You get the impression that he's someone who has long gotten used to the sight before him.
Although he doesn't seem very friendly, merchants are usually a good source of information, right?
Pardon me, sir. I'd like to ask a question if I may.
That depends. How much are you willing to pay?
How about the...
What do you take me for? Some lowly beggar? You can't even buy half an onion with that amount.
Surely an onion can't be that expensive.
What do you know? War's nearly upon us.
Whoa, what a nasty guy.
But he still might have information we need. Traveler, can you think of something?
Okay, while everyone is talking, I secretly use my magic props to summon a bottle of wine without the merchant noticing. We meant no offense, sir. Here, allow me to offer you this bottle of vintage wine, made only from the finest grapes. I'll just leave it here. Please, enjoy it at your leisure. Ah, I should mention that this wine is the perfect accompaniment to a meal. I'd suggest enjoying it with dinner.
All right. Go on and ask.
Do you have any information on the monsters or the crisis that has overtaken the kingdom?
Crisis? If you ask me, there's a crisis everywhere you look. Those monsters are camped outside the city, and they've been destroying all our trade routes. We have limited reserves within the city, so if this continues, we're all gonna be in big trouble.
Wait, you're saying no one has put a plan in place to distribute supplies or maintain order?
We could all starve, and those nobles in the palace wouldn't even break a sweat. Who knows? Maybe they've been in cahoots with the monsters all along.
That is concerning. Thank you, sir. We won't take up any more of your time now.
Hey, why did you leave in such a hurry?
Well, you see, that bottle of wine was just a cardboard prop.
Should we try to go somewhere with more people?
Oh, how about the city square? Follow me.
Before you lies the city's central square. You see a man with a slightly anxious look on his face, pacing back and forth, his head hanging low. He doesn't seem to notice your approach. Still immersed in his own thoughts, he shakes his head and lets out a long sigh.
This guy seems promising enough. Maybe I can get some information out of him. Hello, sir. Is there anything I can do to help you?
Wait, you're...
I'm...
Oh, dear goodness! You're a Marashose hunter!
You recognize us? Ah, are you one of the people who wrote the commission letter?
Yes, yes! Oh, I didn't expect you to actually come. Oh, what great news! The city is saved!
What happened here?
Alas, we once lived comfortable, carefree lives. This city used to be free of monsters. The first Marashose hunter, Casiodor, the Golden Hunter, he was the one who drove them back. However, monsters have once again surrounded the city. Perhaps the seal that kept them at bay has lost its power. Or perhaps an evil sorcerer has been meddling in our affairs. All I know for sure is that their return has stripped the city of any chance at peace.
Are there not enough soldiers to drive them out?
It's not a question of numbers. The guards simply have no idea how to deal with them. Most people my age have never even seen one of the monsters, much less been trained to fight against them. When I was a child, though, my grandfather would tell me stories about how the Marashose hunters drove back the monsters. To be perfectly honest, I was starting to think all those stories were just tall tales.
Well, you can rest easy, friend. The righteous and formidable Marashose hunters are on the case.
The man is touched by your determination and resolve. His eyes begin to well with tears of relief.
Still, if we are going to hunt the monsters, we need to know where to find them.
All I know is that the area outside the city is dangerous. I'm afraid I can't point you toward a specific location. Oh, although, if you leave the capital through the main gate and follow the road...
I see. We'll go look for them then.
All right, be careful. Oh, and one last thing. They're actively working with the monsters, and have corrupted the court ministers with malicious magic. Even one of our kindest ministers has turned into a boorish and unreasonable figure, interested in nothing but enacting laws that exploit the people.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I feel bad for him. Maybe we should try to cheer him up?
Hey, not everything can be solved with food.
I appreciate your kindness, but brave hunters, I leave the future of this kingdom to you.
If I understood correctly, there are currently 2 problems in the kingdom that need solving, right?
Exactly. We need to defeat the monsters outside the city and take down the evil sorcerer stirring up trouble from within.
But which problem should we tackle first?
Well, this seems like a good moment for a break.
I really didn't expect the people in the city to keep us at arm's length like that.
Well, Clarence said the script took cues from the real history of Fontaine, right?
I wouldn't say it's a perfect representation of history.
Sure. As long as it doesn't spoil anything in the script.
Paimon wants to know too! The hunters were super powerful, right? Were they all from a special line of supernatural beings or something?
No. All Marashose hunters were ordinary mortal fighters.
Huh? So you mean anyone could...
In theory, yes. All you would need to do is survive. Still, most people dropped out at the early stages. And others called it quits the minute they saw a monster in person. To become a hunter, you must be strong in both body and mind.
What kind of monsters did the hunters fight exactly?
The land of Fontaine once played host to an ancient dynasty known as Remuria. One of the ancient sorcerers of Remuria used his power to assemble...
Now, wait a second. Don't tell me that guy was the
Well, I wasn't planning on going into anything you might be able to find out in the game. But if you want me to talk about something else...
Wait, but those people are all from a super...
From my master.
Huh. By master, you mean Miss Petronia?
Someone you know?
Absolutely. Miss Petronia and my father were good friends. Back in the day, she would often bring Clorinde over to play, but...
Let's not get off topic. Responding to Egeria's call, a number of warriors followed Cassiodor into battle against the monsters. This group of warriors, under Cassiodor's leadership, became yet, as Fontaine entered an era of peace, their work gradually became obsolete. The Marechaussee Phantom, originally an association made up of hunters, eventually came to be predominantly comprised of Melusines.
Ah, I see. That explains why most of the people in the script have forgotten the hunters or think of them as nothing more than a legend.
Is that really a bad thing, though? It can get tough always being the one shouldering everyone's expectations.
Depends on who you ask, I suppose.
Speaking of investigations, which problem should we tackle first? Monsters or evil sorcerer?
I vote monsters. That's the main duty of the hunters, right? We can come back to the sorcerer later.
Well said, Miss Farina. Plus, if the sorcerers really are the masterminds...
What about you, partner? What do you think? It's decided then.
All right. After some discussion, you decide to turn around and head out of the city.
Let's take a look around, like that guy said.
You there! Outsiders, halt!
Who's there?
An armored man approaches you. He has a tall, muscular build and a determined expression in his eyes. Although he's trying his best to conceal his current state, his uneven gait and the sweat dripping down his forehead make it obvious that he's been wounded and is in serious pain. I'm the captain of the guard. I saw you sneaking around the city earlier, so I'll only ask this once. State your purpose, or it's off to the dungeons for the lot of you.
Wow, it's been a while since someone's been this suspicious of us.
I said talk, not whisper between yourselves.
Have you ever heard of the Marechaussee Hunters?
Marechaussee hunters? Ha! That fairy tale, you mean? What, you expect me to believe you're one of them? Using your knowledge of medicine, you're able to deduce that the injury on his calf was a monster's doing.
I'm a doctor by trade. Please let me redress your wound. You don't have to suffer like this.
The man appears somewhat disgruntled at having been exposed, but soon relents and raises his leg for you to take a better look. He allows you to apply a poultice of specialized medicine to the wound, and it appears to bring him much relief. Oh, right. Guess you lot might actually be real Marechaussee hunters after all. In any case, you've successfully treated my wound.
Do you know where we can find the monsters, or the other guards who are fighting?
He informs you of the various locations where monsters have appeared. He looks in that general direction with a pained gaze. Some of our new recruits have never even dealt with a petty thief, and now they're out there fighting monsters.
Oh, please, sir. Don't get too worked up. You need to focus on your recovery.
Hearing you say that, a glimmer of hope flashes in his eyes. But it disappears almost as quickly as it came. Those monsters aren't easy to deal with. But if you insist on going, I won't stop you either. I just hope all the guards will be able to come back to their families alive.
Based on what the captain said, the monster should be right up ahead. Let's go. Hopefully we're not too late.
As you approach the battlefield, you see numerous people lying by the side of the road. They appear to be dressed like guards. Their faces are filled with desperation and terror. Some are screaming and cursing in vain, as if still trying to banish the monstrosities they saw from their minds. A few of the wounded look up at you in shock and disbelief. Quick, leave this place. Turn around and don't look back, they yell.
This is the place he mentioned, right?
You see broken iron swords scattered. All the signs point to one thing. A truly devastating battle just took place here.
Be on your guard, everyone. The monsters might still be around.
Before you can finish your sentence, you hear rustling sounds from the surrounding bushes. The monsters have emerged. They close in on you without fear. You get the impression that, in their bloodthirsty eyes, you're just another meal for them to
A little help here! This thing wants to eat Pаймon!
Your battle round begins.
Go! Bombs away! Yoo-hoo! Let my name echo in song!
And voila!
Watch out!
The next battle round begins now.
Proper send-up! From the hey there!
The monsters let out a terrifying roar of anger and resentment before dissipating into thin air.
Ugh, thank goodness it's over.
We're lucky the Marashose Hunter class came with all those preset skill points.
I never knew the photometer even determines the amount of damage you inflict. If you get unlucky, isn't it just game over right then and there?
That's part of the fun.
Just as you begin to celebrate your victory, a suspicious lump on the ground catches your attention.
A suspicious lump. Wait,
I walk up to it, crouch down, and begin to carefully examine it. I've still got my right glove on, so it should be fine for me to touch it, right?
As you investigate the mound, you discover that the exposed portion appears to be made of wood. It was previously obscured by the large form of the monsters. With the monsters gone, the small protrusion now awaits your discovery, poking out of the ground like a shy flower bud.
whoa, it's a treasure chest!
With everyone's help, you successfully excavate the wooden chest even without opening it. You can tell from the mora and jewels scattered around the chest that it must contain quite the fortune.
Makes sense. We worked hard for this. Let's open it and we can share what's inside!
I can understand your excitement, Paimon, but think about it. Doesn't it...
Yeah. Think about all the people suffering in the capital. Or all those guards who got hurt fighting the monsters.
Wait, is that how it works?
Well, let's put it this way. Any decision you make during a role-playing game...
But would the people really believe us? It's hard enough for us to prove we're Marashose hunters.
That's definitely something we should consider. Maybe we can...
Well, if donating it could cause that much trouble, why don't we use it to buy some gear and fill up on...
Looks like you're facing a difficult choice. Well, it's getting late.
Wow! Where did the time go?
I'm not sure if it's because I'm having so much fun with you all, or because the story is particularly enticing.
Here, here.
I'm not sure I'll...
Yeah, that won't work for me either. Lynette will give me an earful if I get home too late.
I understand how you feel, Navia, but we have to change venues for the next part of the story anyway.
Huh? Another location?
Mm-hmm. There's a special note for the GM at the end of this section that says to proceed to an indoor set for the next part of the script.
Whoa. They really pulled out all the stuff.
Well, even if we end the game for the day, we can still stay a little longer and hear Cloran.
Something tells me you...
That's just a coincidence, okay? Besides, the Pаймon not finishing free food feels... And anyway, Pаймon really does want to hear more about Cloran's mask.
Well...
It's nothing. I appreciate the concern. My earliest memories are of living with Master. According to her, she saved me from certain people of ill repute.
What a heavy beginning for...
Master was a fascinating individual, if inexperienced in the ways of raising children. My first ever toy was a short sword, although I suppose it wasn't so much a toy as something Master removed from her waist and handed to a noisy child in need of distraction.
Oh wait, so she handed an actual sword to a child?
Of course I did. I cut my palm and bled quite a lot. But see, that's what you get for not holding the sword properly, she told me. She then crouched down next to me and said, "Give me your hand. I'll teach you to bandage this wound."
Excuse me for asking this, Cloran.
Probably around, 3.
3? Isn't that when most kids are still struggling to hold a fork?
As I said, Master was rather inexperienced in the ways of raising children. She believed trial and error was the best way to teach a child what they're capable of.
I'm not so sure this is a question of experience.
I didn't see anything wrong with her ways at the time. And anyway, children don't get to choose how they're raised. Oh, she did bring me back a pet from Liyue once. It was a
A Geovicious hatchling? For a pet? That's
What she said was this: make sure to get along, you two. If you really can't agree on something, just set...
And...
5.
Well,
No, I lost.
So you're saying you actually became the
Yes, but only for a week.
that really doesn't sound like the kind of...
Later on, I gradually understood that Master most likely didn't know any other way to raise a child. Thanks to her, I learned how to navigate the forest by the age of 6, and could hunt monsters in the wild by myself the year after that. Even though the training she subjected me to was strict, she always made sure to take me traveling.
I still remember the first time we met. You were too scared to join our picnic and hid behind Ms. Petronia the whole time.
I still hadn't really met many children my age at that time.
After that, though, you started coming over a lot. You loved challenging people to shooting competitions, remember?
I had a lot of fun during those days.
I enjoyed them too. Oh, do you remember that one time we went exploring around the Spinets? We tried to pretend like we never heard anything, but you nearly let it slip that one time.
Protector of justice. Oh, wait, you mean that vigilante hero?
Yep, that would be her. She often would put on a black cloak and go out at night.
20 years ago, huh? I still remember the guards leaving all kinds of witness reports about her and...
My apologies.
Oh, there's no need to apologize. Although, calling herself the Protector of
Huh? When did the Protector of Justice become...
Oh, she had a bunch of code names. I heard she would just come up with a name on the spot whenever she was asked. Later on, she probably got sick of answering those questions and just...
That sounds like her, all right. I bet she forgot...
Well, she certainly sounds like a fascinating individual.
It's true. I always wanted to become like her.
But...
She suddenly disappeared the night I turned 10 years old.
Disappeared?
I have no idea. She didn't even leave a note. That night, I was celebrating my birthday at Navia's house. But Master never came to pick me up. When she still didn't appear after a few days, I went to Mr. Callus's house to ask about her
Papa probably didn't know either. I know he sent a few people to
Don't worry, I understand. To be perfectly honest, given Master's personality, just like how, when a litter of kittens reached... I was at first, but not anymore.
Well, despite everything, you still managed to follow in her footsteps and become the greatest champion duelist in all...
I suspect my position would be far too by the books for her.
Who knew Clorinde had such an interesting past? And I wonder if Clorinde's master were the champion duelist back then. Oh no. Judging by the atmosphere, Clorinde and Navia are probably thinking something similar.
Well, anyway.
I had a great time today, Miss Clorinde.
Anytime.
The script was good, but I've got to say, Hey, you should tell us more about that fight against the Geo-Bishop sometime. Maybe your master was onto something.
You could be right.
What does she mean, onto something? I certainly don't know any 5-year-olds who want to fight a bishop in their spare time. Guess I'll head back as well. I need to save my energy if I want to continue enjoying the story tomorrow.
You're that excited to hear about my fight with the bishop?
I was talking about the script.